This texting method will ruin your love life. And I mean this sincerely. So, not a week goes by that a dozen or so followers reach out to me with a very similar story about somebody they're connecting with that's mostly a cyber connection, a text message connection. Maybe it's telephone calls, maybe sometimes it's FaceTime, but most of their communication is done via text. So I wrote a blog this morning and it's going to be published tomorrow on Facebook. And I want to share it with you. And then we're going to dive into 6 ways of looking at texting in a way that hopefully will change your love life. And I make this promise to you. If you follow what I'm sharing with you, it will definitely make a difference in your life. So let me be upfront. This blog that I wrote is with a lot of judgment, projection, my own shit is listed. So I just want to be clear about that. So the blog goes like this: stop being so effing stupid about romantic love. I swear, if I could grab people by the shoulders and shake them awake when it comes to modern dating, this would be it. Texting is the poorest form of communication ever invented for building romantic connection. It was designed to give directions, not to build intimacy. Let me repeat that. It was designed to give directions, not to build intimacy. Yet here we are, watching grown adults try to fall in love through a glowing rectangle like it's some sacred portal to emotional truth. It's not. Texting is logistical, it's informational, it's convenient, it's not connective. And here's where the stupidity creeps in. And please forgive my judgment. I know I'm being rather harsh here, but I do believe that there's some stupidity going on. Not because people are dumb, but because they're emotionally untrained. People confuse access with intimacy, frequency with closeness, and words with presence. You text all day, think you're bonding. You analyze responses like it's a personality assessment. You mistake emojis for emotional availability. You build stories, fantasies, and attachments before you've ever heard a person's voice enough times to know they can handle the silence. Texting allows people to hide, to curate, to delay, to avoid discomfort. It rewards cleverness instead of courage. It lets people feel connected without ever being known. And the nervous system loves it at first. Dopamine hits, anticipation, validation, hope. But none of that equals safety. Attachment forms faster than truth. Fantasy outruns reality. And by the time you finally meet or talk face to face, you've already emotionally invested in a version of someone who may not exist. That's the trap. Real connection requires friction, tone, eye contact, pauses, awkward moments, repair, presence. In fact, isn't 80% or 90% all communication nonverbal? It's the facial gestures, it's the pheromones, it's all that sort of thing. The ability to read energy, not just words on a screen. You learn far more about a person in 10 minutes of real conversation than you can do 10 days worth of texting. Texting doesn't reveal character, it reveals availability. And availability without intention is meaningless. And here's the grown-up truth: most people don't want to hear. If someone can't show up in real time, they don't deserve access to your inner world. If your connection lives mostly in text, you're not dating a person, you're dating a projection. Texting should support connection, not replace it. When it becomes the relationship, it's not intimacy, it's emotional fast food. And yes, I know this might sting a little bit, but sometimes the most loving thing we can do is to stop pretending stupidity is romantic. Love doesn't grow in convenience. It grows in presence, and presence requires more than our thumbs. Apples. Anyway, I know I was a bit harsh there, okay? And for some of you, this might sting, and some of you go, yeah, I get it. but I witness it too much. I'm telling you, dozens of times a week. Some followers told me how they've spent 3 weeks connecting with somebody, 3 months connecting with somebody, sometimes 3 years. I once had a woman say to me, she said she was in a 4-year relationship. I said, how often? Oh, and she told me it was long distance. I said, how often do you see each other? She goes, we've never met. We only text one another. That's a cyber relationship. That's an artificial relationship. That's a projection or a pen pal. And by the way, look at, if that's what you need to get through the day, I get it. This isn't easy stuff. But for those of you who genuinely want a life partnership basis, a relationship, that's who I'm speaking to. But I'm also speaking to those that need a wake-up call, that need a smack upside the head and start waking up to the real reality of life. We no longer can be some simple children anymore here. Well, you can be an emotional child. You can do whatever you want. But just recognize, particularly for the women listening to this, men can take advantage of you this way. Do you realize you could build a whole fantasy relationship with a man who might be dating and sleeping with 6 other women while he's texting you because you live several hundred miles away, if not 1,000 miles away, and your whole relationship is built through this device? So, I said I was going to share 6 things that I do believe will make a difference in your life. And this is what is so needed for everyone that uses texting as their primary form of communication with someone. Texting was built for logistics, not intimacy. Write that down. Can someone write that in the chat box? Texting was built for logistics, not intimacy. Texting, as I said earlier, is great for directions, coordination, updates. It was never designed to carry tone, emotion, nervous system, or relational nuance. When people try to build emotional bonds through text, they're using the wrong tool for the job. Now, as I say that, that's step number 1 in what I'm about to share. Now, I need to be radically upfront. I think it's important for me to be transparent here. Many of you know I'm in a significant relationship, and every morning it's kind of become a ritual for me that I write a love note to my partner. I write a love note. I usually spend about 20 minutes crafting it. It's not something just, hey, good morning, how's your day going? With a little heart emoji. I actually share thoughts and feelings. It's kind of like my little notepad, my little, love note card to her. Now, certainly I use text messaging for that. Now, what ends up happening, though, is she writes me back, and usually sometime shortly after she wakes up, and this is true when we're on the days that we're together or the days we're apart, we usually jump on the phone and share what's in that text message. So I want to honor that while I said texting was not for intimacy, it's certainly when it's used in a proper way, when it's used as a supplement, and I'm talking a minor supplement to something greater, that it can have intimate inflections associated with it. But for the most part, I listen to and I read your text messages, and I'm like, most of it's like Seinfeld. How's your day going? Did you have a good day? Tell me about your day. And you're focused on the things that are happening in the day. And you might throw in some emotional aspects to it. But that creates a false sense of intimacy, not genuine intimacy, because it's not built with that face-to-face time through social activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends, traveling together, teamwork building skills, both in your personal and your professional life, and certainly physical and emotional intimacy is how you build a genuine love story with a life partner. So, texting was built for logistics, not intimacy. And yes, you can have some intimacy, but use it as an adjunct and not your primary source of communication. Number 2, people confuse frequency with intimacy. I know some people that text constantly throughout the day. The illusion of closeness, constant contact feels like connection, but it often feels like access. True intimacy comes from presence, not the message volume. I'm going to share something that is a bit embarrassing, but there was a point in time when I actually was texting 6 women at the same time. This is about 20 years ago. That's the beauty of text message. You can text multiple people at the same time. And certainly, I wasn't being very genuine. See, that's the problem with, and by the way, a lot of frequency to each person. In fact, sometimes it was cut and paste to the same person. I'm owning my truth, but I recognize that by touching someone throughout the day, it created a false illusion of connection. And I was a jackass 20 years ago. I was even a bit manipulative. I was out selfishly for my own needs. And I knew from a manipulation standpoint that frequency created false sense of intimacy. Now, I'm not saying this proudly. I'm sharing this with you as a warning sign. Warning, Will Robinson. Warning, 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 warning. Don't confuse frequency with intimacy. Number 3, texting creates false attachment before trust. Someone write that down. Texting creates false attachment before trust. The nervous system responds to dopamine hits, validation, and anticipation. Attachments form quickly, while the truth and character can be revealed slowly. Do you realize trust can take 100, 2 hours, 100, 200, 300 hours of face-to-face time just to build the first few layers of trust. And I want you to think of trust like an onion. There are layers to it. But texting creates a false attachment before trust is built. I can't stress enough how important trust is when it comes to romantic relationships. And yet, sadly, listen, we'll kiss before there's trust. We'll have sex before there's trust. We'll commit to someone before there's trust. And what is trust? Trust isn't just about fidelity. Trust is, does this person have my best interest at heart? Do they operate from my best interest, or are they only caring about their own best interest? I want you to sit with that for a moment. Genuine trust is, what's good for you is good for me. Not at the expense of my sovereignty, not at being a doormat, but it's when 2 people feel that about each other. Ladies, oftentimes you give so much through the nurturing nature that you have, and you give yourself to somebody, but are they really doing the same for you? And I want you to think of real, genuine trust as, I'm going through a hard time. Will they come visit me at the hospital? I need a ride to the colonoscopy appointment. I've got chemotherapy. Will you be there to wipe the vomit from my lips? Can you know that from somebody through a bunch of text messaging? I doubt it. And yet I witnessed women, like I said earlier, 4-year relationship with someone whom she never met. It was only a text relationship. And by the way, the sad part, she gave this gentleman thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. That's the other challenge that you have with the texting relationship being used. Number 4, texting rewards avoidance over courage. Texting rewards avoidance over courage. Texting allows people to hide, curate, delay, and disappear. It lets emotional, unavailable people feel connected without ever showing up in real time where vulnerability is required. I just want you to think about that. Simple heart emoji. Oh my God, he's thinking of me. Writing, thinking of you, with a smiley emoji. And yet, all along the way, they're avoiding intimacy. Can you have a real, deep, meaningful conversation with your thumbs? Oh my God, I butcher things even when I message my beloved in the morning because I'm not accurately, it's hard to read back what you wrote through text messaging. And yet it rewards avoidance because simple one-line text messages oftentimes fuels a person until the next time, and the person isn't saying anything. That's the thing. Just went to the grocery store. Oh my God, he's thinking about me. Just went to go visit my son. Oh, he's thinking about me. My son is having problems. Oh, he's thinking about me. And by the way, this is true for women. Women do this to men as well. This texting mess will ruin your love life, whether you're a man or a woman. Texting rewards avoidance over courage. Number 5, real connection is built through real-time experiences. Voice, eye contact, pauses, awkward moments, repair, emotional attunement happen in live interactions. It is through a variety of different circumstances. And I've been saying this for a dozen years now, through social activities, hobbies, mutual interest, spending time with family and friends, certainly traveling together, teamwork, building skills, both in your personal and your professional life, intimacy. As I said before, it is through the real-time experiences that you can build trust with someone. Certainly, text messaging gives you a little bit of insight, and certainly you can send a love note. I'm a little bit overboard that I do it every day, but I'm a little bit poetic at it. It's my way of doing, like I said, love cards. And certainly if you've built that kind of relationship, there's nothing wrong with that. But many of you find yourself in dynamics with dysfunctional human beings, and you have to look at, why are you so susceptible to this? This is why when I wrote my book, What the Heck is Self-Love Anyway? A Journey of Personal Development, Self-Help, and Spiritual Work, it was an invitation to look inward and say, how is it that I'm susceptible to false attraction? How am I susceptible to artificial intimacy? Because we all have a little 6-year-old inside of us that wants to be loved. And yet the grown-up in us is not driving the bus. It's like you gave your keys to a 6-year-old and said, do the driving from Los Angeles to New York. And I'm sorry I'm laughing, but in some ways it's painful to witness the emotional immaturity in our dating environment today. Number 6, texting should support a relationship, not replace one. Okay, there I said it. Healthy texting enhances connection, kind of like what I do with my beloved in the morning. But that's because we have a strong connection that already exists. When texting becomes the relationship, you're not dating a person, you're dating a projection. And I'm sorry if I'm coming across harsh here, but I witness it too much and it breaks my heart. Texting should support a relationship, not replace one. And sadly, today I see that so many people find them in a texting pen pal cyber relationship and not a genuine heart-centered relationship. And let me just end on this note. Presence builds trust. Confidence or convenience builds confusion. Love doesn't grow in your phone. It grows when 2 people show up. Let me repeat that. Presence builds trust. Convenience builds confusion. Love doesn't grow in your phone. It grows when 2 people show up. And if you follow this texting method of only primarily communicating via text, you are most likely setting yourself up for relationship pain later down the road. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please hit the share button. Please hit the notification button so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect with me directly, hey, there's links below. Schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with the coach is right for you. There's links to join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. You can get the books I recommend, all listed below. And you can, did I say follow me on social media? And don't forget my dating vows. It's in the show notes below. All right. Those who know my live format know it's time for Q&A. Sorry for being goofy. Hey, if you have a question, there's a little chat box in the corner. Write the word question and post the question thereafter. Or you can purchase a super sticker, super chat. All of the monies from the super sticker, super chat goes to a scholarship fund in the name of my son, Connor Aslay. He's my son who passed away over 7 years ago. In his honor, we donate to causes like the Hoffman Process, Insight Institute, and scholarships to coaching as well. And our goal tonight is $50. We'd appreciate some love. And I can already see some questions that have come in. Bear with me. Melanie said, I don't like texting because you can't get the real meaning from it unless you really know the person, and you don't yet. Oh my God. I remember early on, I was having a texting conversation with someone, and my sense of humor did not land. I had to spend the next hour. We had a date plan. I had to spend the next hour backtracking she literally thought I said she was fat, and that wasn't what I said. Okay. But it's because my thumbs don't know how to communicate the nuances of what I felt. This is the danger of text messaging. Oh, and then what happened was she didn't respond for like 20 minutes. That's why it took so long. I mean, she got legitimately butt hurt. Okay. But it was an honest mistake. But boy, and then I'm like, God, she disengaged with me. I don't know how many times that's happened. I've had a communication with someone. I say something that was misinterpreted, and all of a sudden they disengage. And I'm like, I am feeling, and by the way, has this ever happened to you? I'm sure it's happened to you. Lisa points out, I'm noticing more guys not keen on doing lots of texting, which I like. Between meeting, phone calls are the best. Amen. Well, that's good to hear. I'm mostly emotionally wounded people rely on text messaging, and broken men will definitely rely on texting. So, because they can avoid intimacy that way. Lisa also points out, I also think our society is so hyped on instant everything, so we want constant text to appease our need for that. Okay, I'm an anxious attacher, so I can feel into that. So if you're anxious, texting can really be painful. In fact, here, I want to show you this post. Let me find it. Okay, I'm going to show you this video. Hope you can see it. Oops.
You are writing a dissertation of why you are mad at me. See, this one's a little tricky. So at first glance, it seems like you're not mad at me, but based on that period, I know that you're mad at me. Everyone is dead, and also you're mad at me.
That's a video I saw on Instagram. It kind of relates to us anxious attachers, how we misread text message. I like the one that said, by the period you wrote, I know you're really mad at me. So can anyone relate to that? Kind of curious. All right. Live, love, laugh. Live, love, grow says, my sister told me the other day she was in love with a guy that she'd been talking on the phone for 5 years, and he lives in Africa, and she never met him. I looked at my sister and said, what the F? Okay. Live, love, grow. Learn, grow. Did she give this man in Africa money? I hope not. Let's see. Annika's in the house. In person is best to me. It's quality time, but that is one of my love languages. I'm with you on that. Angela is in the house, and she has a question. What does it mean when a man doesn't want to have long, deep conversations? Does that mean he's not interested? No, not necessarily. Well, it's interesting. In the beginning of my relationship, we were having very long, deep conversations. Once we kind of consummated the relationship, I stopped wanting to have long, deep conversations. Not that, I mean, we're both chatterboxes. So, but I think it varies for each man. I think some men, telephone calls can be draining. For some people, that's why it's easier to have 5-hour text conversations, because allows a pause, allows you to watch Netflix while you're doing it. But long, deep conversations, that would be a reflection of his emotional maturity and his relationship skills. We're swimming in a sea of emotional dysfunctionality. I would say 80% of men and women in the dating marketplace have weak emotional maturity and poor relationship skills. Now, that's anecdotal on my part. But given how dysfunctional relationships are, that seems like I'm not that far off from being right. And here's the funny thing. Everyone hears the 80%. And they go, oh, I'm not in that 80%, Jonathan. I have strong emotional maturity. I have good relationship skills. Trust me, most humans are poor at it at best. Annika's back in the house. How do you approach dating apps in 2026? I find in the last few years that I have less success in meeting men through them. You know, here's the challenge. In real life, meetings are becoming less frequent. I mean, unless you have an active social life, they're becoming less frequent. Being fixed up, less frequent. The older you are, the fewer people. Like I can't even think. I know lots of single women, partially because this is what I do for a living, but the few men that aren't in a relationship with someone, I'm not sure I'd recommend them. So even being fucked up, fixed up. Wow, that was a Freudian slip. Online dating still is the number one place to meet people. So the question is, how do you become more effective? First off, quality profile. I review hundreds of profiles a week. I would say 99 out of 100 for men and women alike. So quality profile, good communication, a good willingness to reach out, whether you're a woman, willingness to reach out to a man, whether you're a man, willing to reach out to a woman. Write a paragraph or two as your first message, not hi. These will set you apart from everyone else. What would the message include? Use my method called NICE. And Annika, I know you know the NICE method. Name, inquisitive, compliment, and enthusiasm. You say their name in a sentence. You ask questions, inquisitiveness. Compliment, throw in a compliment and make sure you put an emoji of energy, enthusiasm. That will put you ahead of the game or put you ahead of the lot. Now, date people that you can meet within 1 hour. And I don't mean 1 hour flight. I'm talking they live 15 miles, 20 miles at the longest as far as distance, okay? Someone you could meet relatively quickly. And no prolonged texting. Just say, hey, have a couple of telephone conversations, few text messages, 1 or 2 telephone calls, meet right away. That would be the way I would approach dating in 2026. I'm grateful I'm out of the dating marketplace. Folks, I spent 20 years in the trenches with you. I found my beloved. First, we connected on Bumble, didn't go anywhere. Then connected on Match, kind of one message, and then finally on Hinge. So look at 3 dating apps. We finally got to each other. You know, in fact, I'm probably the only male dating coach that actually met their beloved through an online connection. Most everybody I know met their partner 20 years ago at some social event. So anyway, Ruth asks, how often and what time your midlife group meet? We have a Facebook page. We meet every day on the page. I do try to post separate, unique videos on the page that allows direct access to me at least once a week, if not once a month. But definitely we have interaction on the page. My group is called Midlife Love Mastery. There's a link below to get a copy to join the group. So thanks, Ruth. That's true. All men are different. Yep. All right. Angela's back. How can many people find love using apps like Twitter or X and Facebook with short messages and emojis? How can you explain that? Well, let's differentiate between love versus a hookup, okay? I think a lot of people can hook up through that medium. Genuine connection. First, yes, you can connect. By the way, folks, you can write hi and get some activity. But if you want depth, then go deeper than just a short message or emoji. Just recognize that quality effort generates quality results. Mediocre effort represents mediocre results. That's the way I look at it anyway. Thanks, Angela. I appreciate it. All right. Lisa is in the house. I find very few guys will send a like and a message. Most just like me. I used to only respond to those that sent me a message, but now I do respond to some that I like me only. What do you think? I got to be honest with you. Even my own pattern was I was looking for that woman who was, I'm going to say, confident, but what I think because we men are so used to being rejected, I kind of waited for the person who reached out to me. It's one of the reasons why I like Bumble. Women initiate the contact. I kind of like that because that hopefully sets me apart, because women only swipe right 5% of the time, men swipe right 60% of the time. So if a woman wrote me, I figured, hey, there was a greater chance of success. So I'm a big proponent of women reaching out. Now, part of that was based on my insecurity. I'm going to own it. But I also felt like we'd have great, if I liked her profile and I liked what she had to say, I figured that put our odds in our favor versus, by the way, I can't tell you how many times I've messaged women, thousands of times, and got zero response. So men, I got tired of rejection. So when a woman reached out to me, I figured, hey, I'm most likely she will have a conversation with me. So Lisa, I hope that helps answer your question. But yeah, that's the way I feel about it. Hey, Annika just gave us a $10 super sticker. Thank you for the love. We appreciate you. And I'll answer your question in a moment. Joanna says, finding someone you share common interests in a hobby group, go to a bookstore in the section of interests, volunteer at a food bank. Can I tell you, you can do all those things for weeks and months and years, still not meet anyone. I mean, you might meet interesting people. It's not like, but the reality is people oftentimes don't congregate that way. We've adopted, let's put it to you this way. In the last 10 years, online dating has become the predominant place people meet. I'm not suggesting you shouldn't do those things. Do it because you want to do it, not as a way to meet someone. But certainly a hobby group gets it going. I know a couple that met through a triathlete group that they belong to, and they're happily in love and married now. So certainly do those things. By the way, if you're a woman, join groups where there's a lot more men. Join a golf group. There's a lot more men there. If you're a woman, do the things that men like to do. And if you're a man, do the things that women like to do. The odds are far more in your favor. Annika has got another question for us. I have a man say to me that he's waiting for the right woman to settle down. To me, you need to be ready on your own, believing, then seeing. Your thoughts? To some degree, there's truth to, I'm settling down because I'm with the right woman. I'd like to think I've also made, I knew I wanted a life partner. That was crystal clear in my life. So it's kind of like when I believe it, I will see it, instead of I'll believe it when I see it. It's quite possible if he hasn't made the commitment to commitment, then he's hoping for a fantasy to change him. That's quite possible. I will say people that want a life partner, when they find the right one, they settle down with the right one. Does that make sense, Annika? I know it's a slight juxtaposition of words, but I do believe you have to be committed to commitment and then find the right one, versus I'll decide to commit once I find the right one. Does that kind of make sense for you? I hope I said that in a clear-cut way. Okay. Lisa's back in the house. I've also stopped liking and messaging on apps because I get very little response back. Well, that's surprising. So you message and you get little or no response back, and you get nobody responding to you. So my instincts would say your profile probably needs an overhaul, if that's what's most likely happening. Okay. Again, without knowing the details, but if you're not getting men messaging you and you message men and you don't get a response back, then there's a good chance your profile needs a complete overhaul, because a quality profile will generate opportunities. Okay. All right. Lisa also follows up. So now I just keep looking at their profile, hoping they see me looking and I'm interested. If you look and you don't make contact, that's a flip of a coin. They might think that there's an insecurity on your part. I mean, this is where it gets so effing nuanced. Just message them. And if they don't message you back, no harm, no foul. Non-attachment is a better way to approach this. Okay. But I'm open. Look if you're not getting initial responses and you're not getting responded back to from your profile, then there's a good chance that your profile needs an overhaul. Annika's back in. That is what I'm sensing, as well as he lives very nomadic lifestyle, never in the same place that long. It's interesting. My beloved kind of told me that she was a bit of a gypsy. And I was a little reluctant to approach our relationship when she said that. But and not the nomad, but a gypsy, and made me think of that. What's interesting is she's the farthest thing from a gypsy. I mean, she referenced it a number of times early on. I also think that was probably this would be a judgment on my part for her, but that might have been a defense mechanism for her, because I think she would tell you that she is in the most loving relationship in her life. And because of that, she feels very grounded on our relationship. So I think, sometimes we set up a defense mechanism, a wall, as a way to protect from getting hurt. I mean, that's one possibility. So set up but now there are other men that can do it as a precursor to an escape clause. So, hey, this is why it's called dating? Folks, write this down. Can someone write this in the chat box? Do you know why it's called dating? Bum, 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 bum. Because holy fucking shit, trying to figure out another human being is insane. And they didn't know what to call that, so they called it dating. Holy fucking shit, trying to figure out another human being is insane. That's why it's called dating. Dating is a unusual vetting process that's only really been around for the last 60 years. And quite frankly, it's been radically overhauled in the last 20 years due to online dating. We human beings are so poor at vetting another human being, to actually getting to know someone at a heart-centered level. If you haven't read the book, If the Buddha Dated, I highly recommend reading this book. It throws out the bullshit gender rhetoric and says, how can we get to know someone at a heart-centered level? That's what I invite everyone to do. Read the book, If the Buddha Dated. Ruthie says, a guy that tells you a woman, a guy that tell you a woman she beautiful many times, but get mad because she won't sleep with him because she don't know him is that manipulation? Okay, I'm going to read it the way I think it meant. If a guy tells a woman she's beautiful many times, but gets mad because she won't sleep with him, is that manipulation? No, I think enthusiasm, complimenting someone based on their looks and enthusiasm. I mean, yeah, he might be driven by his penis, and he might feel that he is being manipulated by her, or she might be manipulating him. I mean, I guess the question is this personally related to you, and why does this matter to you? Like, why does this matter to you? That's what I'd want to know. All right. Lisa says, haha, true. Dex says, I stopped online dating and went off the grid because algorithm too far. Off the grid and got an actual date. Now I just need a new date, hot in Louisiana. Hey, if you met someone in real life, more power to you. I understand how online dating can be frustrating. Again, it's just a tool. I'm not saying it just happens to be the number one place people are meeting through an online connection. But yeah, there's, if you can meet someone in real life, at least the only difference in meeting in real life is you don't know a lot of particulars about them. The beauty of online dating is if you actually meet someone, you could usually have a telephone and get a lot of questions out of the way before meeting. That's one of the benefits of online dating. Angela's back in the house, and she says, what does it mean when a man replies to your first message, but he doesn't want a long conversation and leaves in the middle? Does this mean he's being disrespectful? Um, it's interesting. I was having an instant message conversation with a woman once. It was through Facebook Messenger. And I said something that offended her, and we were like, and she just completely disappeared for a week. It wasn't a dating scenario yet. By the way, we did eventually go on a date. That was a disaster. By the way, a $200 lesson. That date was almost better. That money that I spent on that date was better than therapy because I learned everything you shouldn't do. So anyway, so I thought it was disrespectful when she left in the middle of the conversation. That's why I'm reacting to this. Until you build trust with someone, you're speaking to a stranger. I mean, is it disrespectful? Yeah, I mean, I don't think we have to get that into the weeds of it. It's just you're a stranger. It's like you're somebody at the bus stop, hi, and then walking away. I mean, is that disrespectful? Does it really matter? Like, I guess I would invite you to look internally. What did that mean to you? If you felt disrespected, I mean, that's giving a lot of power to another person that you barely know. I mean, one message and all of a sudden, I mean, is it disrespect? Yeah, but this is where we got to have a little thicker skin when it comes to this kind of shit. So Angela wants to come back and say thank you for sharing your experiences. You're very welcome. It's fascinating to me. Many of you know that I'm in a significant relationship. Actually, we're a few weeks away from moving in together. And we've had circumstances where there's been a little miscommunication. We have a different sleeping pattern. I tend to get up at 5 in the morning. She doesn't get up till later, and she needs her meditation and coffee and that sort of thing. And I've been up for 4 hours going, I want to connect, And there's been times I've messaged her and I didn't hear back from her. I'm like, God, did I do something wrong? That's my insecurity popping up. But we always have heart-centered conversations with one another, really discussing what's really important to us at a heart-centered level. So I think because we spend so much time speaking our emotional truth to one another, we've built really a fair amount of trust. And it's why I'm choosing to move in together. And by the way, I love the fact she's got a whole app that helps us navigate some of the financials. We're talking, you take care of this bill, I take care of that bill. She's such a partner. She operates as such a partner. I can't begin to stress how absolutely delicious and yummy it is that she operates as a partner. And I hope if she was sitting here, she would say the same to you, that Jonathan operates like a partner. I'm a big proponent of partnership-based relationships, life partnership-based relationships. I could talk about hooking up, casual relationships, situationships, friends with benefits, which probably 80% of your folks find yourself in some sort of non-life partnership-based relationship. I'm differentiating between serious relationships and the majority of relationships that exist today. Hookups, friends with benefits, situationships, and casual relationships. I said it represents 80%, but I can guarantee it represents over 50% of the relationships that are in, for those of us in midlife, the people that find themselves are in those types of relationships. And I love that I'm in a life partnership-based relationship, and that's what I want people to focus on. Angela did follow up with, don't you think people should let you know when they can't send you a reply or message immediately for any reason? Yeah, I think that's common courtesy, but again, if it's someone you've only had one interaction with, I wouldn't expect much from them. Actually, in my second, remember I told you I met my beloved first on Bumble and then on Match? I think in both cases, we interacted and it didn't go anywhere. We interacted, we didn't go anywhere. Um, that wasn't an instant message conversation, but they were conversations that didn't have closure to it. That's kind of indicative of the environment we live today. But in our case, it was third time was the charm. So I'm grateful that there was no judgment about each other and no animosity towards each other. Maybe that was why we didn't have chemistry on the first date. We needed to build friendship before the physical aspect of the relationship started to manifest itself. So anyway, I hope that helps, Angela. Yeah, but I do believe that, there is a lot of inconsiderate behavior through online connections, through the texting methods, sadly. Um, this is where I'm going to invite you to really trust your intuition. I believe when we're swiping, I think oftentimes fear blocks us from love, you know, and fear blocks us from love. And I think we swipe from people that could be really good for us because our ego's getting in our way, the vanity is getting in the way, that sort of thing. Okay, Annika has a question. What inner work would you recommend when manifesting a partner? Something that really helped you and your beloved. So I'm going to share with you. Okay, I'm going to share with you something. I'm going to share with you what my beloved wrote to describe me 2 years before we met. Okay. So just to give, I'm only going to give you a small snapshot into it. Where is it? Bear with me a second. Oops, I know it's here. Bear with me. I'm sorry it's taking so long. Okay. So this is her self-talk, okay? My beloved self-talk before she met me. So use this as you see fit, okay? But I'm not, this will take me 3 minutes to read. I'll give you the first couple minutes. He is intimately loving. I will want to kiss him a lot. He must get my snark, my humor. He should also be able to make me laugh. Mischievous smile and eyes. Look like a little bad boy, but deep inside is all good. I love his eyes. Money-wise, he's financially fit. He lives very comfortably. He must be able to support himself. He comes from abundance and can treat me as well. He can turn my love machine like no one else. And he is generous with money, feelings, communication, honesty, and laughs at everything. Curious about others. I feel like there's always something to learn about people. Curious about most subjects. He must feel good about who he is, what he does in this world, and how he shows up. His work doesn't have to be powerful, but it must give him a sense of power and a place in this world. He wants to make a better world a better place. He has a good dose of both cool and intellectually stimulating, part bad boy and part bourgeoisie. Mindful and presently spiritual. Self-aware, must have a spiritual side and get the woo in me to the possibility that there is something bigger and willing to do. The work he thinks is multidimensional, warm-hearted, and to me, how he shows up to others in the world. Who he is when no one is looking. And she goes on and on and on to share. So it was what she did was she just, it's fascinating because when I read her vision, I'm like, me. So she visualized it from what she felt on the inside. And while that's not a manifestation, it's tapping into what you want to experience. So you can go back and put this in AI and get a transcript. But I think as I read that, I'm like, that's me. So if you want, create a feeling of what you want, and then just allow your nervous system to be the barometer for that feeling. And that's how I believe manifestation happens. Angela follows up with, Question, do you believe that meditations and affirmations are useful to manifesting a beloved? Have you done that? Hey, folks, I have an app called ThinkUp, okay? And literally, I'm going to read to you some of my affirmations that I verbally recorded and listened to myself. I'm a good, caring person with a kind heart. I'm worthy of a life partner that meets all my needs. My heart is strong, healthy, working at an efficient level. I have an I release my past and trust that everything is happening for my highest good. I am creating a high quality relationship with a conscious, loving partner who wants the same things as I do. I'm in a loving, passionate, and playful romantic relationship. I trust my discernment to guide me in my decision making. My romantic partner is successful spiritual businesswoman who really wants to support my professional endeavors, and the list goes on and on. So to answer your question, yeah, I have an app called ThinkUp. It has a little, it's orange with a little flower on it. I pre-recorded affirmations and I listen to them in my own voice. So I do recommend that. All right, this is going to be our last one of the day. Okay, what are you saying? What are you saying brings me to difficult question? How soon is it too soon to discuss topics like deal breakers, world issues, religion, in-depth issues, trying to be generic, nervous to ask? Hey, I asked all of these before my very first date with my beloved. We talked for 3 hours. We covered the gamut of everything you just discussed. But certainly before physical intimacy, before the penis ever goes inside the vagina, I would do that. And I highly recommend reading the book, chapter 1 in the book, 8 Dates by Doctors John and Julie Gottman, so you can talk about trust and commitment. That's what I do. But just to let you know, by the way, if you're comfortable with who you are, you can talk about it before you ever meet someone. Anyone who has issue with curiosity are probably not that sharp. Okay. Anyways, that's my feeling on that subject. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know. If it is, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what I shared tonight. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect with me directly, hey, there's links below. Schedule a discovery call with me. Join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. Get the books I recommend. They're listed below. I hope you found value in this conversation, because texting will ruin your love life if that's your primary form of communication. Thanks for those that donated, like Annika and everyone else that posted comments. I am so grateful for you. I'm going to wrap up this video as I always do. First off, give myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Barrick of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love, if that's okay. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone, a pet, teddy bear, or pillow, and give it or them a hug of love, because hugs are a great source of love. Let's face it, we could all use more love in our lives. Thanks a bunch. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Thanks, everyone. Angela, Annika, everyone. Thanks. Have a wonderful evening. Bye now.